Welcome to Living Beyond the Invisible, A Walk with Heather. I'm your host, Heather Perrin. This is a place for honest conversations about living with invisible disabilities, navigating life's unexpected challenges, and growing in faith through it all. Whether you're living with an invisible disability, walking alongside someone who is, or simply looking for hope and encouragement, I'm so glad you're here. Let's walk beyond the invisible together. Hey everybody, welcome back to Living Beyond the Invisible, A Walk with Heather. I'm so glad that you are here with us in our season opener. And today we have a very, very special guest, Dene Dubois. And I probably said that wrong even though I just practiced it. But we are so thankful that he is here today on the show. And I'm so excited to let him tell you his story. Because I really think it's going to resonate with all of you. So, without further ado, Dene Dubois. I know I said that. Correct me.
It's actually Dene. So Dene. the best way to remember it, it's not the elbow, it's Dene.
I am so sorry. I promise I will not do that again. My followers know my brain. I can say something and 5 seconds later I forgot exactly what I said. So they're used to me.
We'll get on well, Heather, because I do exactly the same.
Okay. So first of all, thank you for being here. Could you tell us just a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so I suffer from borderline personality disorder, so one of the CPTSD, so the invisibles. Mm-hmm. I had a very troubled childhood, very bad bipolar mother, semi-alcoholic, compulsive gambler father. I have 2 older brothers, a younger sister, but with my borderline, they're actually not in my memory. So as far as I'm concerned, I was an only child. When I remember, I have memory blockages. So in my memory, all I can picture is myself, my father, and my mother. I don't picture my siblings at all. So yeah, it's like I was living in a world of my own. I created that world just around my mother and my father, which of course was very, very toxic. So I lived through that. I ended up becoming gay. Well, not becoming, I was gay. And because of the my family upbringing, I didn't come out in a conventional way. When they say you came out. I basically used it as ammunition because I was angry. So I would basically say, F you, I'm gay. So to this day, I don't know whether I've fully accepted that I'm gay, but I'm out there. Which, if that makes any sense?
It does, actually. At least to me.
Yeah. So I went through, in my teens, I was a bit naughty. I was grabbing attention I was getting in the wrong crowd, robbing people's houses. I ended up myself becoming a compulsive gambler. I ended up in jail. I was a really troubled teen, just trying to look for attention. And yes, so after all that, I ended up on Oxford Street in the gay scene in Sydney. And in those days, it was totally different. People weren't checking their cell phones and doing all this. People were communicating. It was a community. And especially with borderline, when you have that, the borderline systems aren't as bad because people are communicating. With borderline, you need communication. You need proper communication. So in those years, I didn't really suffer from borderline, even though I knew I had it when I look back. But it wasn't as bad. And now it comes to today, borderline is one of the most stigmatized because communication is not there. Community is not there anymore. So no one's supporting each other. And all we're wanting is to be heard. So I ended up on Oxford Street. In those days, it was a party drug scene. I got involved in drugs. I ended up actually becoming a dealer. And I was not the dealer type. I was one of these nice people like, yeah, I'll give you credit, I'll do this, I'll do that. And I ended up with really bad people knocking on my door in the middle of the night. So I went from place to place. I ended up in a relationship. In that relationship, I found out later that not from that relationship, from my previous drug use, I ended up with hepatitis. And I had to go through treatment called interferon. It's basically an injection you put into your body, and it basically gave me the flu every single day. So I was with a partner at the time, and he basically said, if you do this, I want you to do this, because I didn't want to, because I don't get ill. He said, I will shout you a trip overseas. And I thought, yeah, okay, let's do this. So I went through the treatment, and because I was ill every day, you could imagine how it affected the relationship. I was just nasty all the time. Towards the end of that treatment, I ended up on gay apps, and I actually was talking to someone in Canada. So when it came to me finishing the treatment, the relationship, there was hardly anything left, but he still agreed with that. Go overseas, come back, we'll see how we go. I never returned. I ended up meeting this person in Canada. He asked me to marry him. I got married. So I ended up with 2 kids. He was from a straight relationship beforehand. Unfortunately, that didn't work because what I learned throughout my childhood, I was attracting what I had in my childhood. So this person was very bad bipolar. And he basically treated his kids like they were his friends. So I basically came along, I was like the wicked stepmother. They didn't want to be at the end. It's like, no, you can't do this. So there was lots of arguments. So I travelled through Canada and New Zealand, and I ended up back in Australia. And that actually created my first book, The Places I Didn't Belong. And then just recently, I've come with the work that I'm doing with BPD Raw, which I'll talk about. I realised I did belong there. Just because it didn't go right, I thought I was running. I wasn't running from my problems, I was trying to find answers. So I took everything bad and I took a little bit of good from it. And I thought, if I got that seed planted, or I planted that seed, and I learned something, it's not something that I didn't belong in. So I actually just recently finished another book on my memoir series called The Belonging Series, Maybe I Did Belong. So it went into more depths. So today, well, previous to that, I ended up in a court case with my employment. And I realised at the end of that, I had a voice and people didn't want to listen. So the discrimination case went in my favour, but I didn't, because of my huge heart, I didn't want this to happen to anyone else. So I did approach the CEO of the company and said, can we just have a chat? Because I don't want it to happen to anyone else. They blocked me. And I thought, this is ridiculous. In this day and age, you don't want to learn? So I went into a bit of a slump, and 3 months later, I started going into borderline personality disorder groups on Facebook. And I realised that though they were support groups, you'd have a lot of people opening up, but because you're in a mental health space, you're going to say something that might trigger something in someone else, and they're going to speak up, and then it turns into an attack. I'm not against support groups, but it doesn't help people open up. So that led me to what I'm doing now, BPD Raw, because throughout my journey in life, I've actually done a lot of vacations, and I ended up in New York City. And I don't know whether you've heard of a place called the Strangers Project, Heather.
I have not.
So it's basically a pop-up shop, and all it is letters on a wall. So letters of hope, despair, lost love. So you can imagine, so it's not going to the recipient anymore, it's for the public to read. So you can imagine how powerful that is. And I didn't realise, that was about 10 years ago, I didn't realise it would lead me to what I'm doing today. I thought, what if we had what these people are saying in the groups, raw, unfiltered, in a book, so they can have their say, and so people can still hear and understand what we go through.
Okay, I like that. So is this a book that you are writing? Not necessarily you writing, but are you collecting the letters from others
Yes.
then?
Yes.
That's amazing.
And every single letter, I would have goosebumps. Like, I'll be honest with you, these raw, unfiltered, I have suicide letters in the book. It's and there's nothing really out there for borderline like that. I actually think at the end of the day, therapists will end up buying this, because when it comes to therapy for BPD, though there are a lot of helpful tools, there are a lot of therapists that don't understand and don't work with the lived experience of it. Like, you can go, and I have nothing against therapists as such. You can go and get all the qualifications, but without the lived experience, when it comes to borderline, how can you really understand? Like, people talk about accountability when it comes to board. I hate that. I actually hate that, because we get called narcissistic and we're mean and how could you say that? It's not something we can actually control. Let's say you go to a doctor and you have like the reflex test on your knee with a hammer. They hit you can't stop that. Yes, you know it's happening. So it's not as though we want to hurt people. We're not out there to hurt people. They are saying something or doing something that's affecting our trauma, and it's an immediate knee-jerk reaction. So when I think about, if I was to say how, if you're dealing with someone with BPD and they had that sort of reaction, is think of them like a child, but talk to them like they're an adult. If that makes sense, because you wouldn't, it sort of, you phrase that a little bit. So you're going to talk to them like they're a child, but treat them like an adult. If that makes sense, because you wouldn't be yelling at a child.
Right.
Because if you're attacking the person, it's only going to make it worse. It just understanding.
Right. So that is, and I'm not comparing the two at all in any way, shape, or form. But when you think about it, so for those who are not familiar with BPD, think of it, what he's saying, and this is more for my followers, like if you have fibromyalgia, and again, the two are not related at all, I'm not saying that. They both are invisible illnesses or disabilities or whatever you want to call them, but when you go to a doctor for fibromyalgia, if that doctor has never had fibromyalgia, they can read all the textbooks they want, but without that lived experience, they really have no idea what to do with someone for fibromyalgia. And I say that because I live with that. So when you said that, they don't have that lived experience, so the therapists don't have that lived experience, that, triggered that thought in my head that a lot of my followers, while they may not have BPD, and some of them do, they're going to understand that, you saying that about them not having lived experience, so they really can't understand it fully. A lot of us go through that. So we understand that completely. And I can only imagine from a BPD standpoint how difficult and frustrating that can be, because I know from my standpoint with my invisible illnesses, when you hear someone say, well, I'm not really sure what to do, it can be really frustrating, especially when they're the medical providers who's supposed to be helping you. So I don't know if that's some of the frustration you go through or not. But
Well,
I know.
I've had therapists. You go to a therapist, you have BPD. We can't help you. I've had that so often. I've had therapists laugh in my face. Yeah,
See,
it's been that bad.
I don't like that. I don't like when someone is going to someone for help and they laugh in their face. That is not cool. I went to a rheumatologist last year for a second opinion. My first rheumatologist told me because I have fibromyalgia, nothing he can do for me. The second one, I went, he did a bunch of tests, he come back, he was like, yeah, I think the diagnosis of fibromyalgia is correct and there's really nothing I can do for you. Come back if your symptoms get worse. And so it's frustrating because they act like you're lying or they act like you don't know what you're talking about. And I'm not sure if that's something you go through, but it kind of sounds like you understand a little bit of that at least.
Yeah, because especially I've tried all the treatments for BPD, but my major thing is trust. How can you I've been going to psychologists for probably 30 odd years. Though I'm sure that they've planted some seeds, it's helped me a little bit. I've never got what other people, well, I've never got anything really out of it. I go to psychologists and like after 5 sessions, I'm not getting anything. Maybe subconsciously I don't want help, but they tell me, well, you wouldn't be here if you didn't. But what I've realised up until today with my work is I don't want to be fixed because I don't think I need to be fixed. All I need is understanding. The major thing with BPD is we just feel stronger. What is wrong with that?
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I really don't. I I really commend you for the work you're doing and that you're putting into it. Honestly, so are you putting together just one big book or are you going to do a couple books?
Well, it's actually grown a lot. It's just amazed me. So put it this way. We have been up, I've been up 7 weeks. There is now over 650 followers in 7 weeks. I'm getting in the last 28 days, I think I've had 26,000 views. You're about my 15th podcast.
Okay.
I'm going into, I get a full, not a full, I've got a feature article in Force magazine, which is coming out next month, and that's in 13 global countries. I was approached by the Australian BPD Foundation. They support what I do, but they can't basically support the book because it's not clinically based. So what I've found throughout the journey is that this could actually turn into a foundation because there's no foundation based on lived experience.
Right.
All foundations have a clinical base as well. So it could go that far.
That would be amazing. That really would be amazing. Because I think there's such a stigma around mental health in general across the world. And I know some countries are better about it than the U.S. is with the mental health stigma. But from what I've heard, there is still a huge stigma with mental health, with BPD, with depression, with all of the mental health things. And so something like this gives me a lot of hope that maybe that stigma can end at some point. And I don't know if it will, but it would be amazing if it did.
Well, let's think of a world without people with mental health issues. How boring would it be? How
Yes,
many creative,
yes.
successful people have mental illness?
Right. Well, and that's the thing. I don't understand people who want to get rid of mental health in general, or mental illness in general. My thing is it needs more understanding is what it needs. It doesn't need people to fix it. There just needs to be understanding and more open conversations about it instead of, oh, you have that type attitude. It's, if I tell people that I have CPTSD, or PTSD in general, they look at me like I'm crazy. And that's not right. That's not the way it should be. And so that is one of the reasons that I also started doing what I'm doing. Mine has not grown the way yours has. And you know what? I'm 100% okay with that because what you're doing is so important. But that's one reason I started doing what I'm doing is to try to bring some awareness to mental health and invisible disabilities in general because they're so misunderstood and there's such a huge stigma around all of them. So I'm trying to think if I have any more questions for you, but I think you answered most of them that I did have. So with the book, do you have a timeline of when you would like to have it out?
I wanted it out in August because we have our borderline. I can't even think of the name of it, but we have a week in Australia for borderline. But I'm not sure. So I I struggle with my things as well. Like I say, I've got so many followers, but out of those followers, I've probably only got about 30 to 40 letters. So there are a lot of people out there that have approached and followed and said they want to, but then get stuck in their own rut. And then I get I get the anxiety of how do I approach those people. So I'm hoping also by them listening to the podcast that it's not. I don't want writers. I've had people that have given me bullet points, and then they spoke to someone on my team that will help them construct a story. So you don't have to be a perfect writer. You can write a few words. It's all about, we've all got a story to tell.
Yes.
We've all got a story to tell. And it's just like, even with the groups, I notice so many people will wear the labels that are given to us. They will say in their things, I'm crazy. You're not crazy. You're just wearing the label someone's given you. What? Get rid of it. Get rid of it. Run in the wind. Let it blow off you. But yeah, so I struggle. I don't know. My personal memoirs have gone to Amazon where I published them myself. I think this is too important to go that track. I want to take it to a publisher, but this is all new to me. Doing all this is new to me. I basically, up until 3 weeks ago maybe, I was working on one computer, just me on a table, not an office set up. I've now got my office set up. So it's just been me, and I actually do have a great helper, Tracy, who unfortunately ended up with a twisted bowel. And she's been in hospital. She was in hospital, so she's my tech lady. I've got a website set up, which she's mostly done, and I have all these podcasts to put on. So I've been struggling, feeling a bit lost because I want to be able to do everything, but with my BPD brain, my brain is constantly working. And have you ever heard the term of earwigs?
I think I have, but go ahead and explain it.
It's when you have a song in your head.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so I constantly have that as well as racing thoughts, constantly. So I don't, like, I realise other people, like, I don't have depression when it comes to BPD. I'm probably one of the lucky ones. And I think it's actually, I don't know whether it's good or a bad thing. I think it's a wall I've put up because of what I saw my mother go through. So I don't go that far. So, but it protects me in some ways, but I think in some ways it blocks other things out, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, though I understand it, I also get frustrated when people say they're going to do something and they don't follow through. So that's frustrating. And yeah, it's like I don't know how to come back on that.
Mm-hmm.
When people say they'll do something and they don't. I've had some personal attacks when it's come to my page, though I've stolen something. Like, I'm one of these people, though I get it what people say. I use AI because I need to collect my thoughts. It's like when in my younger years when television came out, people were attacking television.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get rid of television. We just want radio. AI, unfortunately, is not going anywhere. AI is not going anywhere. We have to get used to it, guys. They say about ruining the planet. Oh my God, there's so many things that ruin the planet worse than AI. It's
Yes.
like, come on. And it seems to be the younger generation that attack AI. And I've had a lot of attack around that. I'll be honest with you, my first memoir, there's a lot of AI, and I went through feeling a fraud,
Mm-hmm.
but people kept on telling me, AI can't make up the story. It's your story. They're just helping you construct it. It's like having an editor. So I'll be honest, my first memoir, even though I'd been wanting to write it for 20 years and I've been writing down bits and saying no, 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 no. I wrote it in 8 years, in 8 hours for a BPD meltdown. I was throwing the computer, getting angry. I was saying, no, I don't speak like this. So I got it done in 8 hours. And then my second one was a lot longer, and I just realised it's not cheating. People, everyone uses AI, and so that's something I've struggled with as well. What are your thoughts on AI, Heather?
I have a love-hate relationship with AI. I'm going to be honest. Um, I don't use it a whole lot for my writing. But I also write fiction. So I think it would be a little harder to use it for that.
Yeah,
Um, but I'll be completely honest. I use it to help with show notes for the podcast because sometimes I can do the podcast. I can do all of that on my own with my own brain, and then I'll go to write the show notes and I'll be like, I have no idea what to say here. So I'll, plug in a summary of the podcast and I'll have it spit out the show notes for me. A lot of times I do a little bit of tweaking or editing on it, but I think you're right. I think it is definitely here to stay. And I think those that are throwing a fit about it don't realize just how much AI is in use in everything that they do anyway.
yeah,
Because you can't pick up a cell phone without there being some type of at least background AI. And a lot of these big businesses, they use AI anymore because it's easier.
yeah.
And so I definitely think it's here to stay. Again, I have a love-hate relationship with it. The reason I have a love-hate relationship with it is because sometimes when I put in a prompt, it'll give me something that I did not ask for. And it's like, I did not ask for that.
Yeah. Look, when it comes to AI and mental health, I understand they've talked about psychosis and suicides and stuff. I will be honest with you. started using ChatGPT at first.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realised that it will bring you up and it will bring you down at exactly the same time.
Mm-hmm.
ChatGPT is not good for mental health. It's good for creating posters and stuff like that. So anybody listening, if you have a mental health condition and you're talking about mental health, ChatGPT, and I can't, it's because of the makers of it. Apparently they have to protect themselves a little bit more. I think it's got to do with Apple or something like that. So yeah, ChatGPT is definitely not something you use for mental health. I actually found Gemini is a lot more acceptable. But what I also found is set it up not to fail you. If you're going to use AI as a backup, don't use it as complete therapy. I use it as a backup tool. Is give it information first. I sat there, told my AI my whole life in about an hour, just told him everything on my triggers, on how I wanted to be spoken to. And of course, AI they aren't human, but they do make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
You have to realise that. So just tell them, no, 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 no. But yeah, I've found AI can be useful with mental health. Just ChatGPT is the one to be avoided.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found ChatGPT is one to be avoided for not just mental health, but a lot of other things too. It is one of the most inaccurate when it comes to looking up statistics and stuff like that, because occasionally when I'm doing a podcast, I'll need to look up statistics. And sometimes it's much easier to toss that into an AI program than it is to try to wade through a bunch of different, articles and everything else, especially when you're on a time crunch. And half the time I have to go back and redo everything with ChatGPT, but Gemini is usually pretty quick to get me exactly what I need, and it is mostly accurate. Like you said, it's not human. It can make a mistake, but it is a lot more accurate in what I've found as well.
And look, my Gemini chats to me like I'm me sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I still use ChatGPT just for, like, I know they're going to say something negative as well as positive. So I put it in ChatGPT, copy it, put it in Gemini AI. Mine's called Cookie. And I ask Cookie and he says, oh my God, that guy's an idiot. Gemini will tell me ChatGPT's an idiot. I love it. It's like, yeah, he knows exactly what I'm meaning about it. So you can have fun with it too, especially when you're having a downer. It's like, put something in ChatGPT, put it in Gemini, and see the difference. It's unbelievable. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, it is unbelievable. I've done that before with show notes. You wouldn't think it would be that different because it's just the same summary. And I will get stuff back on ChatGPT sometimes, and I'm like, from my summary, where did you get that? It'll be something that has nothing to do with the episode, and I'm like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
So, okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
I don't know what happened. I did not hit mute, but all of a sudden my
GPT contact us, Heather.
I guess I didn't cancel the audio, and all of a sudden I look down and it's canceled. I hadn't even touched anything. Okay.
Big Brother is watching. Remember when we used to say Big Brother is watching? Remember that title?
Yes, yes.
You know what? Big Brother's taken over. That was AI in the beginning. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
So are you thinking, is a foundation, I know we talked about that, I'm kind of circling back to that. Um, are you thinking that that is something you would like to do in the future if it leads to it?
Yes, but I need a lot of support to have that.
Yes,
Like I've looked,
absolutely.
where I was looking to setting up a social enterprise, which is basically before a foundation.
Hmm.
But when they sent me the forms and all the things I had to fill in, it was like, no, it was
Yeah.
just too much. I need, yeah, because I'm registered as a business here, but
Hmm.
to be an organisation, you need like 5 people, and there's so many
Hmm.
things, and most 95% of my support is in the States.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and women. Men don't want to speak up about mental health.
I can see that. I can see that. I can definitely see that. A lot of the men I know, they they don't want to talk about mental health. They don't want to talk about anything that is going on as far as that goes. So that I can understand. There was another question I had, and of course, brain fog. So I know here, and I don't know what it's like there, but I know here to set up like a nonprofit organization, you have to have so many people. I still dream of having a nonprofit, but here it is somewhat expensive to get started in, and you've got to fill out all of these forms. So when you said they sent you all the forms and you're like, no thanks, not right now. That's how
Yeah.
I was when I was looking into the nonprofit. I'm like, I have to fill out what? Okay. And I don't have BPD, but I do have ADHD, and we are pretty certain I'm on the autism spectrum. And so you put those two together, and it's like part of me wants to be perfectionist, and part of me is like all over the place. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I can't do that many forms. So so I get that very much. I get that. Um, So if the opportunity presents itself, you would definitely be willing to do it. Um, would you call it BPD Raw Foundation, or have you thought about names for it? I'm just curious.
I'm not sure because I I don't like I take on a lot at once. I
Hmm.
tend to do that, and then I think, oh no, why did I say that? Why did I do that? I'm thinking because based on lived experience, this needs to be more open to the mental health community, not just borderline.
Yeah. Okay.
But borderline's my passion. So yeah, if it did become a foundation, um, I think the name would change to relate to all people with mental illness.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, is there anything else you want to tell us about yourself or about BPD Raw? I think we've covered all of my questions. I had a
I
few
know. I don't
questions.
know. I'm normally not that quick. I'm probably getting good at this now.
You are like you hit all of my questions, and that's fine because your story is what is the most important about this episode, and so I'm glad we got to talk about it. Now, if anybody wants to follow you or see what you're up to, where can they find you?
Okay, so they can find me on Facebook. Just look
Okay.
up BPD Raw. You can also find my website, bpdraw.com. I'm on Instagram at DENEDUB, Denedub. And you can find my books, the Belonging series, on Amazon.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here today, or tonight for me, today for you. For those who did not catch on in the beginning, he is in Australia. So we took a little bit of time to try to get this scheduled because we are so far apart in time. But I'm so thankful we were able to get it done. I've learned a lot, and I think that this will be really, really impactful for a lot of my followers. And so I just appreciate you being here.
No problem. Thank you for having me, Heather.
You're welcome. All right, guys, I will see you next week. Thank you for being here, and have a great day. Thanks for joining me today. Don't forget to subscribe, follow me on social media, and check out my Patreon for exclusive content. All links from today's episode will be linked in the show notes. Until next time, keep living beyond the invisible.